Welcome to the Dominican Republic. Liquid gold. Welcome you guys to the hero truck, the actual truck that was in that intro scene of Fast and Furious, the fourth movie in the series. Welcome to an absolutely ridiculous series of videos we're doing on a bunch of Fast and Furious cars. And this is the actual hero truck from the fourth movie. Pretty crazy. We're gonna take it out on the road, so let's see how it drives. So I'm not quite sure how to introduce this video, you guys, or this truck we're driving, but this is the actual hero truck from Fast and Furious, the fourth movie. Okay, in the opening scene, they're in the Dominican Republic. And Rico and Tego, Don Omar, they're driving this truck. This is the actual truck that they were sitting in right here in that opening scene of that movie. So, welcome to the series of videos we're doing on a bunch of these Fast and Furious cars that belong to a fella down here named Jorge. He has got at least 26 Fast and Furious replica cars. And then there's this, which is the only one that's not a replica car. This is the real deal, you guys. If you go watch Fast and Furious from 2009, that fourth movie, this is the truck. We're driving in it right now, which is pretty surreal. So, I'm gonna have to yell, because it's so fucking loud. I don't have a seatbelt, okay? The steering's all over the place. As you can see, I don't have a working tach. All I've got is my oil pressure and my water temperature. But that's about it. The seat is bolted down. As you can see, the alignment's way off. This is a movie truck. This is the truck that the actors are driving on set, or, you know, they're filming on set and grabbing all the crazy crane shots driving and stuff. Fourth gear. So the seat's bolted down. Whoever was driving this is like perfectly positioned where the steering wheel is. Great position. Pedals are fine, but it's just a shifter. I've got to like lean forward to get into third gear.
Well, it's a dream that came true. That's what it is. It's a hobby that I have since the movie came out. So yeah, there's like a big world of replica builders, and that's what it got me more involved in this. Because I didn't know, like, there's another guy on Los Angeles, the Vipers guy. His name is Shahar. He has the RX-7, the Eclipse, and the Spider, the convertible. And all those guys are my friends. He's the one who got me in touch with John to buy the Fast and Furious truck. He texted me, he's like, hey, would you like to buy a movie car? He's like, hell yeah. So he's like, yeah, they have the ugly truck. I'm like, what ugly truck? He sent me the pictures and I said, yeah, I'll buy it. He's like, I don't even need to give you the price. I'm like, I don't care, I'll buy it, I'll buy it. So we got in touch. We got a big problem because I sent him a deposit through PayPal and his account got blocked because I sent him $3,000 US. And it was a whole mess. And he helped me to ship it to Reno, Nevada, where my wife's family is. So the truck stayed there like for a couple months because of COVID. I put it out on U-Ship, and a guy from Red Deer, he said he was in Idaho. He's like, I can pick up your truck tomorrow. And I had all the paperwork ready to bring the truck here. And it was like really easy. It's unbelievable easy. And it was really cheap. It was a gift. So that's how I got the truck. So for the movie, they do Hero 1, Hero 2, and stunt cars. This one is the hero truck, so that means that like Don Omar and Tego Calderon, they sit on in that truck. They were filming in that truck. So it was like the main car for the movie.
My throat's already dead right now. So, if you haven't watched the movie, basically the opening scenes of the fourth movie, and this is why it's so important, why the fourth movie is so important. Even though I don't really like it that much, it's still a very important movie because it was the first movie since the original that the full original cast came back. Letty came back, Mia came back, you know, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, they came back, and Paul Walker and Vin Diesel and the whole gang was back for that movie. So to have this truck from the opening scene, this is like one of the vehicles that we saw in 2009 that was like, they're reviving the series. You know, it gave us a little bit of hope. And of course, obviously, the fifth movie comes out, The Rock comes in, 6, 7, 8 comes out, and I stopped watching, to be frank with you. But, well, I didn't. I watched all those movies, obviously, but the fourth movie was a very important movie, and this truck was only in one scene, 1 or 2 scenes. It's just so badass. You got 2 massive nitrous oxide tanks on the back there. And out of all the vehicles that Jorge has, I think this one looks the most realistic because, like, this, you know, movie cars are not show cars. Movie cars are movie cars. They have to perform. You know, this wasn't a stunt truck. This one had to look rugged and stuff for film, for camera. It had to fit the color palette of the Dominican Republic in that first scene, right? Huge burnout. Oh yeah. So funny, we come to Alberta and immediately we have the most badass truck. In all honesty, the scene from the fourth movie, the beginning scene that this truck is in, is probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. It was just really gritty, and I talk about color palette a little bit, and you know, as a filmmaker and as someone who does color correction and does a lot of editing, you look at that first scene and you're like, it's so perfect. The way the pavement has all those grooves in it, the black grooves. It was actually filmed in Angeles Crest, Angeles Forest Highway. We filmed there a bunch of times, but it's supposed to be the Dominican Republic. And then you've got this truck, you've got Han's truck, which is also equally as badass. And then you've got, obviously, Dom and his Buick GNX. And that GNX is just gloss black, just jet black. So the mixture of the browns and the dark colors, the blacks, from this truck and the GNX is just so awesome because it's so bland, but it really set the tone. It was like, you know, the crew from the Fast and the Furious, these guys aren't living glamorous lives. Like in the world of, in the story lore of the Fast and the Furious, these guys are drug runners. You know, they're stealing gasoline. These guys are criminals. So for me, it was such a cool departure from the bling bling and the chrome spinners that the second movie had, and like, yeah, it set a very different tone. And then later in the movie, obviously, when Paul gets in like his blue GTR, then you're like, okay, then it really pops. It pops even more because it's so colorful. But yeah, this thing is absolutely mental. Definitely one of the most intense vehicles I've ever driven. Really pretty easy to drive.
Like, we were having a barbecue when the guy from Red Deer called me. He's like, hey, you know what? I already crossed the border. I'm gonna be there in 4 hours. I'm like, come directly to my house, please. So he showed up at my house and I just stayed like staring at the truck. He's like, I need you to jump in and drive it back from the trailer. I'm like, just give me a minute, man. Let me admire the truck. And he said, this is a fucking ugly truck. And I said, hey man, this is a movie car. Like, you don't even know the value of this truck. So it's if you are a really Fast and Furious fan, you'll understand it. But if you are not, it's a piece of metal, and that's it. It's a truck, and that's it. So when I sit for the first time, and my friend from Instagram told me that was a hero truck, I started crying, man, of happiness, like crying. Like my tears started dropping, and I was so happy. And I came home and I told my family, and they were so happy for me. So you need to be a real true fan to know the feeling and the meaning of these cars. There's a list that not a lot of people has, like I don't have it. And it says the VIN number, and it says it was the stunt car or the Hero 1, the Hero 2 or whatever. The stunt number 1, 2 or 3 or the Hero 1 or Hero 2. So the guy asked me, a random guy on Instagram, like asked me, hey, what's the VIN number of your truck? And I was really scared, right? Because all the scams and all that stuff. I'm like, why do you want to know? He's like, because I want to know if you have the stunt car. What stunt car you have? So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm like, what do you need? He's like, the last 3 digits. I'm like, well, the 3 digits are not gonna hurt me. So I gave it to him, and he's like, oh no, man, sorry, it's not on my list. So maybe they screw you up. And he said, unless it's the Hero truck, because on my list, I don't have the Hero truck VIN numbers. I'm like, huh. I'm like, how can I know if it's the Hero truck? He's like, well, it'll have a sticker on the door and on the passenger door. And I'm like, okay, and what is that sticker says? He said 3.5. So I came flying from my house to check the truck, and I took a picture and I sent it to him. He's like, yeah, you have the Hero truck. He's like, the value of that truck, of whatever you pay, went double at least. And I was so happy. So I called Sahar, my friend in Los Angeles. I'm like, hey, tell John that he sold me the Hero truck. Thank you very much.
Fast, I'm not gonna lie, but it's got the noise. It's definitely got the noise. Yeah, it's fun to shift. So, since this is a movie truck, you guys see those huge side pipes on either side. So that's not actually the real exhaust. Those are actually fake. So the exhaust dumps basically right here, which is why I have the windows down, because I'd probably be passed out by now because the exhaust fumes just come in here. But these are, I believe they're Simpson racing seats, drag racing seats. Like I said, real simple, you guys, for the movie, that's all you really need for the Hero car. You need a starter, you need fuel, and you need water, and that's effectively it. This car has no lights, it has no brake lights, it has no turn signals, it doesn't have a seatbelt. I honestly don't know how this is illegal right now. But anything goes in Alberta, right? That's what I've heard. Now, a couple of years ago, we filmed a video with John Clarick. Now, he is a professional driver and drifter and driving personality from San Diego, okay? You guys may know him from the Netflix series Hyperdrive, okay? Where he drove his Mustang in that series. So we filmed with John, and I was on Instagram a couple months ago, and I saw randomly in his driveway, he had this truck in his driveway, and I messaged him, and I'm like, yo, dude, that's ridiculous. I know people like to do the replica cars, but this is next level. And then, a few months later, maybe 6 months later, I see he's trailering the car off to Canada, to Edmonton. So I go on Instagram, I find Jorge's Instagram, I find out that Jorge has like 30 Fast and Furious cars, and now here we are in Edmonton, Alberta, driving the Hero truck from the fourth movie. This is so surreal, you guys. The fourth movie was the very first Fast and Furious movie I watched in theaters. I didn't see Tokyo Drift or any of the first two in theaters, so this was the first scene that I ever watched in theaters of the Fast and Furious franchise. So it's so crazy, like 10 years later, 11 years later, we have roads untraveled and we are driving the Hero truck from the fourth Fast and Furious movie. Thank you, Jorge, so much for letting me take your truck out for a spin. I really appreciate it. This has been the most insane weekend, one of the craziest weeks of filming we've ever had on this show. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed these cars just as much as I did. This has been such a blast. So if you haven't already, subscribe. We've got a whole series of all these Fast and Furious cars, so check them out. And hit me up on Instagram at Untraveled if you want to see some more stuff. And we'll see you next time.